Welcome back to the HGC. Today's been a very eventful day so far. We saw Fnatic get a victory, and we saw Caldor get eaten by a bush.
Again, I keep telling you, I won the battle against the Haka. I had the Doom Hammer. I can't lose with that thing.
That's what he says, man, but we'll never know. We'll never know. All right, guys, we're getting ready for the next series of the day, and we get to see Team Liquid as they'll be taking on Zealots. Team Liquid want to, of course, make it the Western Clash. Let's go ahead and check out the standings right now because they're currently tied against Trick Esports with that 3-2.
Yeah, so it's a really interesting situation for Liquid as well. Now that Dignitas has lost the game against Fnatic, they have even a better chance to go up again, to go to the Western Clash. But there's still a lot that can happen here, and Liquid, they still need to make sure that they win against the Zealots today. If they lose, then they are in a very, very awkward position where all of a sudden everything can turn again.
Yeah, that's one of those matches that you look at and say, okay, well, Team Liquid's gotten through a couple of the bumps they had to already. Today should be a match they should get a victory on, but you can't count anyone out in Europe, even the Zealots, as Europe continuously shows that all of our teams continue to be close together. In fact, let's go ahead and check out the schedule for today's matches that you'll be able to see. Earlier, we saw Fnatic and Team Dignitas face off, and Fnatic, they're looking strong.
I still can't believe that they won 3-0.
Yeah, I was expecting to get a 5-game series today, but Fnatic is that dominant.
They are absolutely the best team by far in Europe at this moment in time. But Zealots against Team Liquid, a lot can still happen here. We of course have a couple of matches where we have a clear favorite. Team Liquid versus Zealots is one of these games. Experts versus the good guys is another. But we have seen so many upsets already this season that if another one happens, the entire situation of who could qualify for the Western Clash can change again. Right now it looks as if Dignitas is not going to make it. But there is still a chance, depending on the results of Zealots versus Liquid and the good guys versus Team Expert.
Exactly.
So they are hoping for one of the underdog teams to make a big surprise.
If you're a Dignitas fan, you are now a Zealots fan for the next couple of hours because you want them to take on Team Liquid. We'll see what our players think about the match coming their way with their thoughts being shared.
Team Liquid is the perfect definition of a team. They are all on the same level. They are always on the same page. It's not like they have a superstar player. They are all good, all consistent, and they perform super good when they need to perform. This week, we don't really know what to expect. At the beginning of the season, we thought Liquid was the third team in Europe by far from the rest, but they're playing shaky lately, so we might have a chance to beat them this week.
Losing to Trick 0-3 probably taught us a lesson in how to close out games as efficiently as you can. We didn't underestimate Trick, but at the same time we probably didn't play to our best, and that's not going to happen against Zealots. They are veteran players. There's no need to underestimate any opponent ever, and for us getting a good win against them would just make us closer to a qualification for the next Western Clash. The offline events are what we are looking forward the most, and not having qualified for any BlizzCon so far hit us a lot, and also not qualifying for the last mid-season brawl hit us really hard. We are very competitive players, and we learned that our opponents are just working just as hard as we are, and we have to play our best game every time.
You mentioned in that interview, Trick Esports' 3-0 victory over Team Liquid was quite the shock last week.
Yeah, it definitely was. And it's also one of the things that, again, can put us in a situation where Trick is going to surpass Team Liquid if they end up on the same match score. So for Liquid, it's incredibly important right now to secure this victory. And of course, Liquid is at the same time also hoping for Trick, as they are a direct competitor, to lose games now against Dignitas in particular on that last slot. So there's still a whole lot going on for all these teams. We have still only one single team secured for the Western Clash, that is Fnatic, and this is not going to change today. So for Liquid, it's incredibly important to win against the Zealots, but even if they claim the victory, they're not qualified just yet.
Well, it should be a matchup that we can have a victory for Team Liquid. We haven't seen the Zealots get a victory since their win of the Playing Ducks in week number 1. Let's go ahead and set up the battleground for our best-of-5 series. It's going to be Dragonshire with Zealots picking the map.
Loving it. Always love Dragonshire. It's going to be a great start into the series. The Zealots had a bit of a rough phase so far. They actually started with a win. It was looking really solid, something that we didn't expect them, a 3-0 victory. But ever since then, they really struggled to even take maps of their opponent. So now they are going up against another big team, as Team Liquid is, of course, the favorite in this series. But still, the Zealots have shown that they can make it happen, and they choose a battleground that we don't see all that often in Europe. Has popped up a little bit more in Phase 2 than in Phase 1,
Sure.
but it's still more of an oddity.
Yeah, it's mostly a map that the Zealots want to go to. They always go to this battleground when they have the chance here in their series at some point. So we'll see if they can pull off a victory against Team Liquid. For me in particular, it's Mopsio versus Blumby. The Warrior matchup is going to be very important for our fights here. And of course, the Assassin play from Darkmok. We'll see how it shakes out for our teams as we begin here with Zealots bringing in the bans after a new wreck has been banned out by Team Liquid.
Immediately, the Stitches being banned, as you said. We talked a lot about Stitches here already today. We heard the pros share their opinion on him too, and he is definitely one of the big enablers. But it allows Team Liquid to go into Genji, and the one hero that we would definitely expect in this rotation for the Zealots is, of course, Uther. Uther with Genji is amazing because of the Divine Shield into the Dragon Blade, but at the same time, when you're playing against an Uther, with Genji, if he goes into the Divine Storm, gets the Benediction on level 16, which allows him to use twice the stun, you have all of a sudden just such massive lockdown against a hero that wants to be mobile that Genji has a very, very rough time engaging into the backline. It's actually something that we saw particular in North America yesterday when we had Roll20 going up against Team Freedom on the last map. Genji was faced exactly with that problem.
Uther a little bit on the stronger side, but this also does pose another question for us. With Stitches being banned out as well as a new wreck, what do the Zealots move into? In the past, we've seen some ETC, and we've been a bit harsh on the ETC play here from the Zealots.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if ETC is really the best pick for them. It felt that Mopsion, the hero, always feels forced to make a big play, and oftentimes it ended up with him overextending slightly and teams attempting to punish him for it. So I would really like them to go into another main tank. For now, they are very happy to just take the Uther as expected, and in addition to that, they're going for a top laner in the form of the Haka. Once again, aiming for side soak, trying to play the map a bit, and with the Haka having the potential to just roam to a different lane and then simply taking a quick fight with a numeric advantage.
The question is, what is Team Liquid going to move into? Sometimes you'll see that first iteration of maybe picking up someone like the Valla into an Oriel, with Valla falling off pretty heavily, though we've seen a little bit more Lenara in the mix, but you want to make sure that you have that damage set up. Also, there's always the chance of moving into a Rhaegar. Maybe you want to make sure he's available before he's banned out.
Yeah, Rhaegar is an option. As you said, Oriel is also very strong. They've been playing with Oriel also quite a bit, so that would work for them. But for now, they're actually taking their sweet time with this. It's a bit surprising to me, considering that what we are seeing from Zealots should have been expected.
It's not revolutionary at all, yeah.
Yeah, it's not that they're trying to invent the wheel anew. We have now Muradin taken and Greymane. Muradin pick is actually an interesting one. Strong hero to pick, no question about that.
But early and over a support.
I'm currently questioning if that's also them targeting a little bit the Zealots here.
Trying to take away all the tanks from them and make it a little bit difficult.
Force them into the ETC.
Force them into ETC.
I mean, we have two tanks banned, one taken. They can ban another frontliner if they want to, and force the Zealots' hand to an extent. There's of course still a variety of tanks around that you can still use quite nicely, but if you want to force them down a certain path, you could definitely do that.
If they ban out one more tank, Varian in particular, or maybe Johanna, they would definitely be going for that squeeze.
Yeah, you have Johanna, you have Arthur that you could try and force out, but then again, backline damage is also still available. It comes down to the question what Liquid really values the most here. Muradin is really aggressive in his rotations. We've seen, for example, Dignitas now several times try to use the Greymane and Muradin in a rotation to get kills. They stack a second stun on it, so if Liquid wants to go down a similar strategy, they need to add a second stun to it, but they could definitely do it. And first of all, they ban out the Oriel, so they're really targeting the double support, which could have been an option for the Zealots since they already have Uther.
Tasks are still available though, so there is that option available if Zealots do want to move into that double support. They would still need a main tank later, but they could pick it up if they would like. In terms of tanks available that are good on this battleground, Johanna steps out, you're able to get the rotations with your clearing on the middle and the bottom lane. You still have Arthas, but Arthas is more flanky based. He does in the front line with an Uther with the heals, so it could be okay, especially against Greymane, but there's also Varian too. And Varian can be a powerful tool against Genji if you ever actually get into the movement and picking him off.
Yeah, that is something where Varian could work for them. One of the issues that we have with that is that they would miss out on wave clear. Liquid has it mostly on Greymane right now. So I feel for the Zealots really, for me personally, it comes down to a comfort pick. They need for the tanks to pick something that Mopsio is really comfortable with. He's also doing a lot of the shot calling for the team here, so that simply has to work. But I'm very curious to see what kind of path the Zealots take. It's their map pick, so they are the ones who definitely have the strategy here. And we have the ETC again with the Tacita. And it's another opportunity for Mopsio to prove that he can use it. But both of the times when we have seen ETC played by the Zealots, it didn't really work out for them. And it has at times become a massive problem.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost disappointing some moments. You know, try not to be too harsh on Mopsio, but it really just wasn't getting anything done for his team. If he's worked on not telegraphing, then I'm okay with it. That was the main problem. When he wanted to engage, it was very noticeable. He would walk towards his opponents, he would try to set up fights right away, almost looking like he wants to power slide in effectively. And that allows a pro player to simply just outstep it and then punish when he comes in.
Exactly. You want to use opportunities that you have, but if you just simply tell them, okay, this is what I'm looking for, I'm trying to go in here, it's just sending them basically a letter, oh, could you please just stay there for a little bit longer so I get a perfect mosh pit off. And once you see him posturing, you can just move away, and once he then darts in, he's basically just dead meat. So
yeah, I mean, here's a visual representation. Caldor and I are gonna play paper, rock, scissors. I'm gonna go rock. 1, 2, 3. Oh my god, you should have gone paper!
I'm giving you the draw!
Oh
I'm a
my
nice
gosh,
person.
This guy. Sonya and Rhaegar get picked up for Team Liquid on the 4th and 5th. Zealots will pick up their Tassadar for the double support.
I'm trying to be nice here for once.
Thank you for giving me the draw, but I was trying to make a point. It's okay. That's the other deal. You're a good co-caster.
I know.
Good job, man.
I should have actually given you the win.
You should have. That would have just like ruined the point completely and discredited me as a caster.
I can't do any right with you. It's sad.
It's okay, man. We'll
I'm
get
trying
through it.
so hard.
What?
Trying to discover my inner snowflake, but it just isn't there.
We'll get you there. We'll take it to Antarctica. Cassia gets picked up for the 5th pick here for Zealots.
So the Zealots playing a little bit similar to what Fnatic used in their last draft on Sky Temple, not quite to the same extent. Confused with the variant here. So yeah, really trying to just lock a target down, use the stuns, and get Cassia in to finish off the rest. We have quite a fair amount of poke. It's going to be quite easy, or it should be easy to keep the Cassia alive here. There's also a lot of life leech that they have. But
It keeps the Cassia alive, but how do you get kills? Sonya, Greymane, Genji. Genji can be locked down. If there is an engage by the power slide into the Uther stuns, then you can focus down a target. But I'm afraid for the early game here. I feel like the pushing and the strength of the lanes is a little bit stronger for Team Liquid.
Yeah, I like Liquid overall more. It's a little bit more flexible. You really bank all your hopes into a chain CC and then the Cassia. So what I liked about Fnatic's draft on Sky Temple a bit more is that they could force the issue much heavier with Varian and him using the taunt. I'm not sure they can get the same done with the combo that they're using here. And I really like what Liquid has. So Zealots have to prove that they're able to take it with this draft here. It's not a weak one by any means. For me also, it's a bit of a question what we're going to see on the side of ETC, but I guess you have to Haka already a global. It has to be a mosh pit here, especially since there's not that many interrupts on the side of the opponent. There's a couple, but still.
Yeah, I mean, if you're able to get the Murden or the Sonya in the lockdown and one of them is use Stormbolt for the engage, you're actually in a good spot to get a mosh pit off. So I'm going to believe in the ETC one more time, but Mopsio, don't let me down. You got to land these power slides, get in the engages, and bring out that Cassia damage. It looks like we're ready for game number 1 in this best of 5 series. We're going to go to Dragonshire. It's Zealots taking on Team Liquid.
Zealots against Team Liquid. Game number 1 in our best of 5 here. Team Liquid against the Zealots, and Grand Paquete is already here. On the left side, playing the Uther, we have Mopsio on ETC, Poik on Cassia. We're seeing Zarmi on the solo lane. He's going to play the Haka. And last but not least, Shed, the second Spaniard in the setup. He is going to run the Tassadar.
Team Liquid on the right side here, looking for more victories to put underneath their belt. Blumby on Murden, Nuruk on Genji, Hasuwa is playing the Greymane. He's doing that more often lately. Splendor on Rhaegar, and Darkmok on Sonya.
Darkmok in the solo lane. He's going to play Sonya. We have Nuruk on the Genji. So with Genji, there's also a lot of disrupt against that backline. He's going to try. He has to be careful. We said it during the draft. He needs to be a bit cautious about how he engages into Uther in particular. But there's a very mobile setup as well, and I'm curious to see what Zealots can pull off this time. If they can cause the upset against Liquid, that would be fantastic, not only for their standings, It would also, of course, help out Dignitas, who's basically relying on either Liquid or Expert losing to their underdog opponents over the next few matches.
I mean, I hope they don't. I can't take the lack of stability anymore, Calidor. If the standings go into another stage of everyone being everywhere into week 5, I'm going to have a heart attack.
Well, I actually don't think it's really a lack in stability we have. It's just there's more teams that close the gap.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, is actually awesome. It's super fun. I understand what you mean, that you all of a sudden don't really know, okay, who are our favorites here. But we went from a big 3 into basically a big 5.
Yeah, which is absolutely incredible. But man, it's just so hard to digest that. Dignitas, Team Liquid, there's possible chances that they don't go to the Western Clash. Right now, Team Liquid still holds the number 2 spot, so they're in a good spot. Let's see if they can keep moving forward here against the Zealots. As Zarmany will take harassment from Darkmok and Nurok in the top. It's all about the shrines. Their teams is moving for control.
Yeah, and with the control, we have Hazorps fighting already at the bot lane. Grandpa is trying to help out with that, but so far, Hazorps should still be able to recover this, but he doesn't really know where the rest of the Zealots are, so he's a bit careful. But ETC moves in and tries to get the slide. The follow-up stun on Uther at the bot already, but he's too close to the tower, so Mopsio and Poik have to move away, and Hazorps is able to move out of it.
Now, there isn't a lot of armor in that rotation between Cassia, Uther, and of course ETC, so killing them will be a bit difficult. They can control that bottom lane, but Team Liquid, knowing this, went ahead and put a few members in the top lane. They're answering back with their own kills on top of the turrets. Only bad news about stacking the top lane is that you do leave the Giants up for picking on the bottom left and the bottom right side. So if the Zealots do indicate or notice that Team Liquid stays up there too long, they can make a play for the Giants and get pressure on their opponent's fort.
Liquid is overall ahead because they have taken out the entire wall to the top. And that is also putting more pressure onto the Haka, of course. But at the bot lane, the Zealots were eager to mitigate that by dropping towers as well. But they didn't get quite as much as Liquid did on that upper lane. So now we have the rotation of Liquid down to the bottom. They have pressure at the Haka to the top. That makes it a bit easier for Sonya now. And she is able to claim the shrine. Not quite able to land that spear, though, as they are attempting to pressure Zarmany more. But this is definitely where Liquid is now starting to take camps.
Yep, Team Liquid grabbing their own camp here to answer back Zealots grabbing their camp on the left side. Will they be able to move in and grab the shrine on the bottom? They do, but they have no chance of grabbing the top. Genji's ran to the top lane to help out Sonya, just to make sure that they bought enough space here for Team Liquid to finish up their own Giants.
Well, there's a pretty heavy pressure play that we're seeing from Zealots at the bot lane. And also stunning out Blumby over and over again. The poke the entire time here happening. But now Splendor and Nurok are moving in and turning into a 4 versus 3 for a few seconds as Chat is joining the fight and evening out the count. It looks like Murden might fall here. Barely kept alive by the healing ward. Blumby still on the run. Cooldown for the Dwarf Toss is ready and he moves away, mounts up, activates his trade. Could have waited a bit longer, but he is definitely going to fall. No one there to help him out and everyone is just collapsing onto him.
Now that's the ETC play I like to see. He waited for Murden to go for an engage on his Cassia. This is a protection type of ETC where you just wait sure and make sure that ETC is near your teammate whenever Cassia is engaged upon. Then he dropped the knockback and went for a power slide and stopped Blumby from engaging, and eventually that ended a kill. Good play there by Mopsio.
Yeah, there's also my brother, not Agent 47, but the fake tweeter 47, which is Team Liquid. A lot of good luck for the series. We haven't seen them at the mid-season brawl, but they have been a staple in the offline events in Europe, and they have a very good shot of reaching the Western Clash. But for that to happen, as we said before, they need to take down the Zealots. By the way, there was also a bit of a moment that we just saw here where for Liquid it became a bit difficult since they lost the hero at the bot lane because Zealots picked up both of the shrines and Sonya was busy taking a night camp. But Rhaegar was holding the middle, so he was in a spot where he could make sure that there was no Dragon Knight. And now they are actually capitalizing on the camp that was taken, even to an extent where they can take down Zarmany. And if the Haka falls, and indeed he does, they have a free shot at the fort here. And this is a great spot for them to gain some momentum.
This is a good play here by Team Liquid so far, just putting some pressure on that top lane fort. And remember, with the Cassia composition, you typically put 2 to 3 members in one area and leave them in that area and have them push. So Team Liquid decides, all right, well, we'll go ahead and just counter push on the other side of the battleground, and they get the fort first. Hasselhoff's in a spot where he's going to need help soon, but with the brigade coming down already, Team Liquid might have a chance of saving their fort.
They could get a couple of kills, which is probably their first objective here. Already the stuns coming in against ETC, but Zarmany using the globals to dash in. Mopsio is low. The problem is that Rhaegar is dead.
Team Liquid taking some deaths here, may lose another member. Mopsio's looking for it, trying to move in, and so far, The Zealots are getting kills upon their opponents. They also get a fort, and they're tied in experience against Team Liquid in game number 1.
Yeah, the Zealots definitely show us some teeth here. And as we said before, they had a pretty rough season. They lost without taking a map against the Ducks, against Team Expert, and against Dignitas. So that is, against the Ducks, they actually won the series with a 3-0. So they haven't, since that victory on the first day, they haven't won a single series. So, or a single map for that matter. And right now against Liquid on the first one, they're actually doing fairly well.
Doing well, controlling the shrines, and even hitting 10 before their opponents. Team Liquid lagging slightly in experience, but eventually do get there too, so both our teams are now at 10. As for Team Liquid, of course, does go up in strength. Avatar coming online for Muradin, Dragon Blade for Genji, and Cursed Bullet for Greymane. Also, Wrath being used for Sonya.
Yeah, Sonya going into the Wrath here. We have seen a lot of leap lately, mostly from Team Expert by Aethero Angel. Mosh Pit, of course, now as a threat against them. And I'm also curious to see what Uther is going to go for. Grandpa on the Uther could still go for Divine Shield. That would be the ETC Mosh Pit within Divine Shield, an old Truth and Try combo. It can be extremely dangerous, but if you want to counter the Genji even more directly, then it's always good to have that extra stun.
Mopsio on the right side here. Splendor seems to have been caught off. He does dodge the drag, but he is being slowed by Shad. Shad drops the force wall, but Mopsio finally shows up with a power slide, and the Zealots get a 3rd kill.
Yeah, that's a dead dog right there. Zealots are getting their picks in. A lot of stuns available for him, and every single time they get these lockdowns, Cassia can capitalize on them by simply dropping the target, and Poik is doing quite well on her. So overall, Liquid is fighting back, but they're definitely feeling the heat, considering that we came into this expecting Liquid to be the dominant favorite in this match. This looks very different.
Zealots definitely has something to say about that right now. Zealots right now on the bottom, controlling, continuing to get up there. Zarmany just holding his own in the top lane. And Team Liquid realizing, okay, we're not getting kills in this ETC, Uther/Cassia combination. Let's keep putting pressure on Zarmany, but Zarmany, he's getting wiser towards it. He's watching in the flanks, he's only clearing, and allowing his teammates to keep getting him a lead.
The one thing that I would really like to see is team fights, because I feel in team fights Liquid has a much better chance. The problem that they have is that they run into these isolation kills that Zealots is using, and that's another one. They caught Muradin in a rotation, they started with the stuns, and they got the kill against him. So Liquid wants team fights. Liquid wants a 5 versus 5. That's ideal for them, but they don't get it right now. And when we're talking about ETC, this is, by the way, something I want to see in these fights. Hold your ult back as long as you can. Keep it there as a threat the entire time, so that Liquid has to keep it in their head and needs to play around it. And then when at some point you see a chance, then use it. But if the chance doesn't present it to yourself, be willing to just let it run into the later stages of a big team fight.
I mean, Mopsio did that in the last team fight, and he may have to do it here, as Zarmany and Grandpa are going to be focused down. Shad with the force wall will keep Team Liquid at bay. We do have ETC soaking up in the middle lane, but at any point you could rotate in and make this a 5v5 if Zealots choose to do so, because Team Liquid has everybody on the middle and northern side of the map.
Yeah, so Mopsio moving out here. Staying, for my taste, even a bit too long in the mid lane, to be honest, since he saw that there was a rotation coming. But he's safe, he gets out. They have the earlier 13, rotates past Genji now, and up to the top, Sonya is down. Again, the same pattern. Find the target on the lane, move in, and drop it. And they did that time and time again. They have 5 kills. And nearly every single one of these kills resulted through them seeing a solo target and isolating them with stuns, and then Cassia dropping the damage.
And Zealots will take the first dragon of the game. They group up on the side here. They put Dahaka in the bottom to make sure the shrine is grabbed, and Shad will start moving in, and their intentions are to move in towards the keep on the right side, and if need be, they can retreat back to the middle and take out that fort. So for now, Zealots looking strong and breaking out turrets.
I'm actually amazed by what we're seeing here. The Zealots are the ones really starting to dominate the game. And we expected the Zealots to maybe even be able to fight back against Liquid. But not to an extent where you see exactly the opposite of what was expected. Zealots being the ones driving the agenda here, making sure that they are calling the shots and having the initiative in every single fight, and Team Liquid's being the one to react here. So the Zealots are doing extremely well. They don't have the chance to drop a keep just yet. It's a 10-minute Dragon Knight, so it can be bursted down quite easily, but they are definitely pushing Team Liquid to the limit right now.
Definitely playing well here. Poik stands forward and starts bringing out the damage. Now Nurk will drop the Dragon Blade. Here we go, our first major 5v5 team fight. And a mosh pit connects, and it does not get interrupted. Genji is dead. Mopsio will fall as well, but Zarmany chasing forward.
Yeah, once again, we're seeing them moving in here. They go for Zarmani as he is trying to keep himself alive. It was a good mosh pit and also the follow-up, but only one target dying, and they still lost HGC. It was a really interesting battle there. When that mosh pit connected, I really thought that Poik was able to drop at least 2-3 targets.
Yeah, even the impel coming in there, the angle was a bit off. It hit all 3 members, but here's a drag, and it's going to be Greymane taken out. Blumby jumps over the wall, but Zealots now with 7 kills to 2.
Team Liquid needs to take a bit of a breather, I feel. For Zealots, everything is working fine here, but Team Liquid just needs to take a step back and really think a little bit about their engagements here.
To be honest, if I didn't know any better, like I'm looking at this right now and I'm wondering if the names are switched. Zealots are playing so well right now. They're controlling the battleground and they're getting fights with the Cassia as their main damage.
It also feels that it's been made a bit easy for them, but here we go. This is the mosh pit we've been talking about. And at that point, they get the first kill, but they just don't get the second. The stun comes out a bit too late to save ETC. First bullet, of course, had a lot to say there as well. So much burst damage coming in. But Zealots have 7 kills against 2 now. They are taking another camp, and Liquid is the last one of the big teams that has to play against Zealots, and every other team, Dignitas, Expert, and Fnatic, have won against the Zealots without losing a map. Liquid is, at this point, really the team that has to try and somehow catch up and start a comeback, because now their talent behind is level 16 versus 14. So the Dragon Knight being announced in 40 seconds, that could be a second Dragon Knight an objective for the Zealots, since Liquid is just desperately trying to keep the lane safe.
Yeah, Team Liquid is struggling, and they're doing everything they can here to make sure they can get back in this game as they're moving towards 16, but Zealots have other plans. They set up a trap here on the right side. Poik is stepping forward with multiple members here. Now, with the Cassia all by herself, you can usually assume a bait is being set up. But the main thing the Zealots can do here is push with these Giants and maybe work towards getting that keep killed off. They decide to go ahead and pull back and work on grabbing the Shrine, but this is where I want the Zealots not to falter. They've had a great early game, a great mid game. Now keep the pressure up. You still have a half a window advantage over your opponents.
Yeah, they have that advantage, and if they just pressure that now with the Siege Giants, they can go for a keep. So they have a few options. They can either try and go for a Dragon Knight, or they can simply attempt to force the keep directly. And with the Siege Giants still being there, that could definitely work. But Liquid is doing a great job with the defense, and they still keep doing all of this. Genji at the top lane, and he deals with the Haka now. So Nurok was just aiming to save that Shrine from being taken, and he of course has a bit of help since the Night Camp is now pushing through the lane.
Zarmani will clear out that Night Camp, can move up and grab that Shrine, which means Zealots could move in for the Dragon. And Team Liquid is not in a spot to stop it here. If the Dahaka actually gets the full channel, no. He gets interrupted in the top by Genji, so Darkmok and crew can move in and force a fight while Nurok grabs the Shrine.
So that's the 16 versus 16 that Liquid was waiting for. That was a big deal to make sure that there is no Dragon Knight against them, no kill. There comes the stun, goes in, Muradin with the leap into the fight and tries to stun them out with another Storm Bolt. We already have Zarmani low, but he gets his ult through and heals. Nice stun coming out of Zealots, and they get the kill against Genji, once more showcasing how strong Uther is against the Italian ninja.
But Sonia's in the middle of this entire fight. Will she fall? She does. Multiple members are low for Zealots, but they might be able to keep moving forward. Mopsio with the big slam of the guitar will help get the kill, and only Blumby stands, but it's still a 2-1 victory for Zealots as they kill off 4 people, where Team Liquid only takes out 3.
That was a really cool fight there. We definitely need to see if we can show that again. And yes, ideally we do. Look at this. They were all so low. This could have gone either way. There's the mosh pit, gets some extra damage. They interrupt though, since he did not catch Muradin. Then they kill. Look how low Zealots is, thanks to the constant poke from Greymane. But it's actually Team Liquid who loses heroes first. But everybody is just so close to dying. At this point, if not for Splendor and the rest of the team, this could have actually been a massive victory for Zealots, but both teams lose a fair amount of heroes here. Greymane just spiking in that fight, that constant poke coming out of the cocktail build.
I mean, that fight could have also been a little bit better too if Tassadar was able to move up. He was actually taking damage from minions and died to the minions because he was so focused on giving shields to Cassia. But still, Zealots trying to work on a Dragon here. Team Liquid will have everyone spawn, and they're on their way for the interruption as they throw 4 in the middle here to make sure they can set up and delay that while Darkmok works on the Giants.
And both of them are now going for Giants. So we have Giants going through the bot lane for the 2 of them. Shrines divided, but for the Zealots it's still a better position. Every single fight where they trade evenly is a win for the Zealots, since they will force the level 20 earlier than Team Liquid. As long as they trade evenly here, they're completely happy doing it. And if you just look at the map, that keep that is so pressured, the bot lane is very exposed. So Liquid has to be super careful. Now at the top lane, Shrine has been taken, so again they're switching. The Haka can move bot. As long as they don't lose a member, the Zealots are absolutely okay stalling this out a little bit more. Once they hit that 20, they're willing to fight.
Yeah, Mopsio continuously is dropping down his knockback, the Encore, on top of the Cassie anytime she might be engaged upon to make sure that Team Liquid cannot dive her and lock her down. 19 to 18 almost for Team Liquid as they're close to that experience here. Zealots are making a play. Force Wall comes out, there's a power slide, but big Ancestral.
Yeah, the Ancestral is in. Zarmony with the drag into the mosh pit. And they have a triple now. There comes the stun. It's a double kill. Zealots with a 5 versus 3 now, and they're starting to chase. Genji jumps out, but Greymane falls, and they attempt to go for Blumby too. Muradin hops away, but that was insane. Not only the mosh pit was great, but the Haka dragging the Haka into the mosh.
The Haka bringing the Rhaegar straight into it, and then Poik with the impale to hit multiple members to make sure to bring them down. The Finn damage helping a little bit too much as well as he goes straight in for the fight, and they are looking towards the core. 20 seconds before Sonya and Greymane are up and available, as well as the Rhaegar. Blumby goes in trying to interrupt, but can they stop the Pain Train as Zealots go for their first victory against Team Liquid?
Stun after stun against Muradin. He's down. The Zealots go for the core. Liquid has problems. They're down to 40%, and there's still 5 members taking the core down. Zealots win game number 1 against Team Liquid in the best of 5 here at HGC Europe, making a first big step towards an upset.
Let's repeat that here. Zealots get a victory over Team Liquid in game number 1. Unexpected from them, but they came in with a game plan, and I gotta say, man, I mean my words here, Mopsio showed up on the ETC and looked much better than he did last week.
Yeah, much better than the previous games that he played. If he can keep up with that style of ETC, then I'm more sold on it. That was way less aggressive than what he used to show, and just more reactive to what he was seeing. I also liked how they approached the core, by the way, in the end. You could see them just hiding outside the core range, and then they set Uther in first. Uther had his redemption up after that level 20 hit. So he was in the spot where he said, guys, I'm tanking core damage. If I die, it's completely fine. A, I'm coming back. B, I have my reduced cooldown in Ghost form, Divine form, so I can just simply get the heals in. So it was also really smart. We have seen teams lose on a core rush because they tanked with the wrong hero and moved one of their DPS heroes in, for example.
Awesome play there from the Zealots as they're able to come out and keep up the pressure consistently. The Cassia play also doing great too. Poik was the main damage dealer there. I was actually a little bit worried when we hit 10 and we got Force Wall pulled out. Maybe we would have needed Archon just to bring out enough damage, but Zealots coming out with a different strategy here and delivering the victory.
Cassia at the end of the game had 68,000 damage and had the top hero damage in the entire game. If you compare that to the second, which was on the side of Team Liquid, Greymane only had 50k, even though he had the Curse Bullet and he had that constant poke with his cocktail, which especially at the upper fight did so much work.
Well, let's talk about the supports that actually played in that match too as well. The comparison between them. We have Splinter on the right side who's been playing well with Team Liquid for the last couple of years here. Go ahead and check out his stats here. You can see it with him too. He's an aggressive player, 7.8 takedowns. His deaths on 1.5 as well, but his kill participation for both the supports here, 94% and 92.
You can really tell that when you show them side by side, Splendor is definitely a lot more aggressive than Grand Paqueta. When it comes to his hero damage, 10,000 to 12,000 doesn't seem like much if you look at it in total numbers, but on a percentage base, it's insane. If that's an additional 20% on the damage count, that's nearly double the amount of takedowns and kills that you get per death. So Splinter is way more aggressive in his playstyle and tries to impact not only the healing numbers, but also secure kills here. So Grand Paqueta is a bit more passive with his positioning, but in the last fight or in the last game, what we saw is the utility that he brings to the game.
Yes.
So having the additional stuns here, it was just crucial for him to always be ready when someone gets locked down, gets slowed down, to allow his teams to get those kills for him.
The differences in styles really coming in here for our two teams, but right now, Zealots are up 1-0, and we're getting ready for our next battleground. Where are we going? It's going to be Tomb of the Spider.